Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to War Thunder with Koala. So in today's video, I want to go over something really important before the next patch drops. I've no idea when that will be, but I'm assuming there will be a second dev server as not everything was functional on its first iteration. If you're wondering, a good estimate is March 19th, seeing as that's when Gaijin states the new economy changes will come in, tying tanks like the T-64A, T-72A, M1 Abrams and Kampfpanzer 70 to the lines before them, and lowering a lot of vehicle costs, seeing as we're now going to have Tier 7 tanks and Tier 6 jets for every nation. Actually, that's what this video is going to relate to, is the new Tier 6 jets that are coming in for Germany, France, Italy and Japan, because it is a great fear of mine that top tier jet gameplay could be in a lot of danger this patch. Depending on how Gaijin chooses to handle things upon this patch's release, top tier jet gameplay could really be jeopardized. So call this a McChicken bite style video, but we're going to push at Gaijin a little about top tier Air RB specifically. I know arcade and sim work quite differently on the balance front, but I don't play those game modes, so I'm not going to touch on them today. Now, I am far from the best jet player out there. I like to think that I'm somewhere in the neighbourhood of above average, but certainly not what you'd call a pro, far from it. I do, however, love top tier jets. I have been playing them for a very long time, and I have a vested interest in seeing the gameplay there flourish rather than be tarnished by easily fixable issues. I love getting new additions to top tier. I was thrilled when Gaijin announced tier 6 jets would be coming, but I'm not going to sweep existing issues under the rug just to hype up new stuff. So what I want to do today is draw you guys' attention to a video made by Defin, who's an extremely capable long-term pilot, I would say one of the best RB jet players in this game, and a friend of the channel who has his own YouTube channel that will be linked below and on screen. Now, if you lads like jets, you want to play jets and get better at them, and you're not subscribed to Defin, then you're just doing yourself a disservice. So come on lads, let's get the man up a few thousand subs, shall we? Go head over to his channel, tell him the Scottish Koala sent you, and show the guy some support. He definitely deserves it. Now, Defin private messaged me a few hours ago talking about a video he'd made titled The Educated Concerns of a Veteran Top Tier Pilot, in which he talks about an issue that could seriously threaten the health of the game at top tier. Now, Defin has given me his express permission to use his footage here on my channel, so to cover the issue in the most detail, I'm going to hand over to the man himself, and I'll see you lads in a minute.
So, with the new patch around the corner, I'm actually excited for this one, so I'm hoping that all of this will work out just fine. But there's one major concern I have with all of this, and I'm not talking about the radar sights with the lead indicator, I'm not talking about better missiles or the top speed of the T2 or any balance related stuff like that. I am concerned mainly about the teams. In one team you will get the F-86 F2, the Hunter, the F-100, the Javelin and the Mystere. At your best, well, minus the Javelin of course. And on the other side you will get the F-40, which outclasses the F2. You get the CL, which outclasses the F2 and the Hunter, and to a certain extent the F-100. You get the CL Mark 6, which outclasses these planes, but even harder. You get the Mitsubishi T2, which outclasses the F-100 in all important aspects. You get the MiG-19S, which outclasses the F-100 in most aspects, except for the missiles, but it won't need them. And then you get the second problem with these teams. Germany, Japan and Italy almost have zero bad 9.0s. When you get a full team of 9.0 and 10.0s, one end will have all the good planes like the T2, the G91Y, the CL Mark 6, the CL Mark 5, the F40, and the other side will have Venoms, Javelins, A5 Sabres, the MD452C, the VO202A, VO202B, FJ4s. You're seeing what my problem with this is. And these planes will have absolutely zero chance versus full teams of good planes, because the worst plane that they will have in their team is maybe a MiG-15 BIS or G91R1, and these planes aren't bad in the slightest. The worst planes on the end of the Axis teams will be near the best planes that the Allies have, which is completely ridiculous. And I'm not trying to rip on Gaijin here, because I think for right now what I'm seeing is a fantastic patch with a lot of potential. But if they screw up these teams, top tier will die.
So thank you lads for going to good sense of Defin's major concern. This is something that many players share, I know, including myself. I've long since said that while the top tier jets for all nations are pretty balanced right now, minus the Javelin, which is absolute dogshit, the teams themselves create an imbalance because the worst jets on one side are still very good jets, only slightly below the performing standard of the best jets on the other, which are slightly below the performing standard of the best jets on that first side. As an example, the two best tier 5 jets in the game right now, in my opinion, are the CL-13A and F-40 Sabre, which always fight on the same team. The next best would be the F2 Sabre, which has to constantly fight against these two, and next in order we have the remaining F Sabres, one of which is on the Japanese team fighting with the F40 and CL, and then after that comes in order the MiG-17, Hunter F1, MiG-15 BIS, one of which is on the German team again, and the Mystere 2C. Now what happens here is that while the performance difference between the CL-13A and F2 Sabre say is only slight, and the F2 and F40 are probably on par, while the MiG-17 and remaining F Sabres are only slightly below, you create an issue when the teams themselves are imbalanced, and what you've got to think of is not which team has the best jets, because the teams are pretty balanced in which best jets sit on those teams, but which team has the biggest saturation of the best jets, and even more poignantly, which team has the larger saturation of bad top tier jets. Now it was only recently that we saw the addition of the battle rating of 8.3, which was a very good thing. We need a battle rating of 8.72 for jets like the A5 Sabre, maybe the FJ4B without ATGMs, the MiG-15, the early one, the Mystere 2C, the 2A could be 8.0 without breaking a thing because it's absolutely shit. The Javelin could go at this BR2, and arguably the MiG-15 BIS and G91R1, but that does start compressing things a little too much, so we'll see what rebalancing Gaijin has in mind for 1.87 when some of our current tier 5 jets receive air-to-air missiles. Tier 6 jets in my opinion are all fantastically balanced right now, with the MiG-19 having a far better power to weight ratio than the Super Sabre, but in turn a shit rudder, while the Hun has more missiles, better missiles, it rolls better and has a higher top speed, along with not locking up the way the MiG does. The MiG-19S for Germany will have the same issue the Russian MiG-19 does, however it will be faster and better maneuvering, and in turn loses out on the missiles. Now Defin says that it outclasses the Super Sabre and therefore won't need missiles. This is where I disagree slightly. Defin is a very long-term tier 5 RB player and undoubtedly much better than I am, but I feel like that means he's gotten a wee bit stuck in the meta of old tier 5 and hasn't embraced tier 6 in the same way I have. The air-to-air missiles are extremely useful for getting kills, despite what many people will tell you, and with the MiG-19 PT and F100D getting upgraded missiles this patch as well, I think the German MiG-19S will really miss them, and hence I believe they're all balanced and should all be beyond 9.7. These Super Mystere B2 coming to France this patch and the G91YS coming to Italy would honestly be balanced 9.3s, they're good tier 6s but not quite on the level of the others, while being above our current tier 5 jets. The issue is the Mitsubishi T2, Japan's new supersonic jet fighter. Now the fact that this plane significantly outclasses both the MiG-19s and the Super Sabre means that it has to be at least 10.0 if the MiG-19s are moved down to 9.7, or even 10.3, however this will limit the battles it can get into. I feel like not that many people will play it, similarly to the Type 90, which is extremely capable but doesn't get played as much because a much lower percentage of the player base plays Japan than nations like Russia, Germany or America. Of course the battle rating balance and compression all depends on what else Gaijin plans to put at the surrounding BRs, and of course I can only gauge the T2's flight performance on the dev server performance and figures and records from real life. So the performance may be slightly different come the live release of 1.87 and it may not be quite so imbalanced. Once again though, it's not the good planes that actually create the imbalance, it's the bad ones, and currently a team that has no bad jets will fight against a team that has half bad jets or thereabouts. The Javelin, the A5 Sabre, the MiG-15, the Mystere 2C, Mystere 2A, Votors, and the FJ4. These planes are all extremely capable, don't get me wrong, but they do not perform on the level of our true top tier jets, the CL-13A and F2 and F40 Sabres. This disparity is only going to get worse this patch, with an example, one team receiving a premium F40 Sabre and G91R4, along with the extremely capable CL-13B Sabre Mark 6, while another team is receiving a new Voltor 2A model which will be a bit crap. Now of course player skill plays a massive factor, but Devin does talk about that, so let's go back to a later point in his video and check out what he says here.
It doesn't matter how much better you are than them, you are going to get clubbed. And you can say, oh, but if you're a good pilot you can win. No. Because on average there will only be 1 or 2 really good pilots in your game, the rest will be average and they will be around the same skill level on both sides. But one side will have superior planes across the board. They will have more fighters, they will have more useful fighters, their support fighters can carry. Which is a problem. When the support fighters can carry versus another team, there's a problem going on. And I really hope, I really hope that they change this. Because if this stays like it is right now, everyone will gravitate towards Japan, you get mixed teams, so why do you have the teams to begin with? You hear what I'm coming from, right? If you're always going to get mixed, because no one wants to fly US, no one wants to fly Britain, then why do you have the teams in the first place? I think it's a good moment to really think about these teams and revert them to what they once were. You get the Russians in one team, the Germans in one team, and the French in one team. This way, the Russians have some bad planes, the French have some bad planes. I know this is a very cheap way of coming up with a quote-unquote solution, but I think for the short term, for the patch drop, just an easy quick fix. I'm not asking for Deuce Uppy, I'm not asking anything like that. I'm asking for a simple balance change. Because if they screw these teams up, they might kill their own top tier, and you can say, oh, just don't play it if you don't like it, which I am agreeing with. But this is a very simple fix. It's one they reverted. It's not even historical as it is right now. So why would we... That's not even an argument here. I think it's a very good idea to switch these teams up again. I would find it a very big shame if all of this hard work they put in this would get curbed on the side just because of a simple team fix. Well, my rant is over.
So there you go lads, that is Defin's suggested fix, one that is more of an emergency solution for the time immediately after the patch drops to prevent it absolutely bombing, while Gaijin works on a more permanent one. My suggestion for this would be to create a sort of seeding system by which Gaijin would have to work out which planes are the top performing planes, and you can't look at the stats to find this, you can't look at player performance and Thunder skill, you have to actually play the game extensively. Someone at Gaijin has to play the game or talk to people who do play the game extensively, like Defin, like Chicken, like the Great Raccoon, and many other of the old pro Jet players. Perhaps not myself because I once again am far from the skill level of these guys, but it might also be a good idea for Gaijin to take into account the opinions and kind of 2 cents worth of players like me and the multitude of others who are at a skill level somewhere in between average and pro. Once they make a kind of top 10 or even top 20 list of best performing Jets within the meta of RRB, they need to then seed the teams. And if you don't know what seeding is, just look at sports teams in a season, or one sport that I know it from is tennis, where players are matched up against each other depending on their likelihood of doing well. Once you have those planes in order of which are the top performers, you seed the teams accordingly so that one team has the best jet, the opposing team has both the second and third best, the first team has the fourth best and fifth best, the second team has the sixth best and seventh best, and so on and so on. This is just one suggestion for a fix, but it is something that desperately needs to happen if we want to save the game. There is plenty of time to come up with permanent fixes, but I completely 100% agree with Devin that some kind of emergency team fix needs to come to prevent the patch just flopping, and after a better solution is found, it can always be amended. Right now, if the teams are not addressed, all of the hard work Gaijin has put into tier 6 jets last patch and this patch will be for nothing because the game will die. And that just stops us getting further tier 6 jets like F4s, MiG-21s, Back Lightnings, Mirages, MiG-25s. Gaijin needs to think about this, and we don't know if they've already got something planned. For all we know, they may have. If they have, then that is a very good thing, and this video just serves to alert the players as to the need for it, but if not, then we do absolutely need to press Gaijin about this, for their own sake as much as ours, because Gaijin clearly wants to go more and more modern with jets in the future. We want A4s, A10s, SU-25s, so what I ask is that if you have a better solution that you want to bring up, definitely put it into the comments, and a couple of weeks after the patch has dropped, when everything starts settling down and the meta returns to a sort of norm, I will revisit this issue if it still needs addressing, and we can talk about some of the alternatives that you lads have brought up. If any other YouTubers see this, like Spitfire, Napalm, Mike, Fly even, or anyone else, then I'd urge you to create your own video content on this topic, and Devin did say expressly that anybody who wants to use his footage may do so freely, just to spread as much awareness about this as possible. I will publicly say the exact same. Anyone who wants to use this video footage and anything that I've said here, go right ahead, you have my express permission right here. Guys, one other thing, please go share this video with Fly, tweet him, get his attention, because Fly is one of the few people that can actually get Gaijin working on something. If you know someone at Gaijin, or if you have any affiliation with Gaijin, looking at you Collusion, then do everything you can to get them onto this, because this has to be addressed if we want the work that's been put into jets not to be a complete waste, which would be a real shame. Anyway lads, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed, found it informative, and that you leave a like if you have, subscribe and hit that notification bell, join the 360 squad, and make sure you go check out Defin's channel and sub to him. You can come follow me at all the different social media, links are in the description, and if you'd like to support my channel further, then be sure to check out my Patreon, where you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month, and lads, every little bit helps. I am going to try to get one more video out today on the new patch. I didn't manage to get a third dev server video recorded yesterday, but I want to do a devlog video on the T2. Until then, always remember lads, keep your bagpipes to hand, keep your kilt on, and I shall see you next video. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon. The Bretlander, Seagull Nuts, DA261, Latvian Wolf, Gisli Garashin, and Dark Recon. You lads are bra. If you wish to join them, come check out the link in the description below.